There are stories out there that need to be told. Stories that I'm not sure that have been told before. But I guess that's what I'm here for, to help people tell them. You weren't always a linguist, were you?
No, I was a 23-year-old vampire before I became a linguist.
How did it come about?
There's a simple answer to that. I don't believe I want to give simple answers. I think I want to tell the real story.
My name is Justin Vasquez. It is 12:57 in the afternoon on September 17th. I'm in the far west community of San Antonio across from Mr. Darius Edwards. So, Mr. Edwards, how long have you been a linguist?
The year was 2023 in spring. I was admittedly a different thing then. I was in a linguistics class. When I learned about these things, nothing could have ever prepared me for what was coming.
Well, I guess we have to dive into those things then. Can you answer a few questions for us? We have your name on file as Darius Edwards, but we'd like to know a little more about you. Where are you from?
I was born in Del Rio, Texas, but I was raised in San Antonio for most of my life in the Northwest. And you? You said Jesslyn Vasquez. Where are you from?
San Antonio, same as you, but the far west side. Now, if you don't mind answering these questions as naturally as possible, we'd greatly appreciate it. There are no wrong answers, and just so you don't feel weird, I'll do it along with you. Here's a list of words for you to speak out loud. I'll say them after you have.
All right, I see. Aunt, roof, route, theater, iron, salmon, caramel, fire, water, New Orleans, pecan, both, again, probably, Alabama, lawyer, coupon, mayonnaise, pajamas, cot, naturally, aluminum, gif, crackerjack, doorknob, envelope, GPOY. Your turn.
All right. Aunt, roof, root, theater, iron, salmon, caramel, fire, water, New Orleans, pecan, both, again, probably, Alabama, lawyer, coupon, mayonnaise, pajamas, cot, naturally, aluminum, gif, crackerjack, doorknob, envelope, jipoy.
You pronounce those things interestingly.
You're one to talk.
Next question.
What is a bubbly carbonated drink called?
Bubbly carbonated drink. I think I would either call it a carbonated beverage, like a soda. Yeah, probably just a soda, something like that.
All right, thank you. Last question. Well, it's more of a request. Say any 3 words you'd like and I'll repeat after you.
Grim. Underneath. And tower.
All right. Grim, underneath, tower. Last question. Do you think you have an accent?
Yes, I believe I have an accent.
Okay, great stuff. Thank you for your compliance.
You're welcome. These are interesting questions, but you say there's no wrong answer, and I beg to differ.
You would? How so?
There's a way to answer these questions correctly.
You think so?
Yes, I do. If I were to answer, let's say your question about if I think I have an accent, of course I do. To say I don't would be incorrect completely. It's the same as if you were to ask how I'm doing, and if I were to say that I was doing good. The proper way of responding to that question would be to respond that I was doing well.
Well, I'd beg to disagree.
Really? Why so?
Well, what you're describing is a prescriptivist approach to language.
Ah, I see where you're going with this.
I'm sure you do. I wasn't expecting you to be a prescriptivist.
Well, I've been around for a while. I am a vampire after all. I'm what the kids call a little old-fashioned.
Interesting. Well then, as a self-proclaimed prescriptivist, why don't you explain the term and the concept behind it?
Very well. Though, I'm assuming you're a self-proclaimed descriptivist then. Perhaps you can do the same for the audience then.
That sounds fair enough. You go ahead.
Prescriptivism, to put it simply, is how people should speak. As a prescriptivist, I believe when people speak, they should follow proper grammar structures. There are rules and structures to language that cannot be ignored, such as the example I just provided.
And descriptivism is the description of language as it actually comes around. As a descriptivist, I follow how and why language is spoken the way it is, and rather than trying to create rules to be enforced, I believe that rules should be created on account of the observed language. For example, rather than saying it is wrong to answer a question a certain way, I would simply track why the answer provided is, well, the answer provided.
We all have our own opinions.
Some of ours are wrong.
Next question.
So, you've been around for a while?
Define a while.
Why don't you? You are a vampire, after all.
Exactly why I shouldn't be defining that. We will have two very different definitions on the topic.
Let's move on from this.
Let's.
Considering you've been around a while.
Ha.
Would you say you're comfortable with explaining the concept of word morphology?
Sure.
As simply as you can think of, if you please.
Well, the easiest way to understand the word morphology is to think of the word morphology. Morphology is the study of words. In fact, the term ology itself is a morpheme, or the smallest unit of a word that has meaning. Word morphology is the study of words, but more than that, how they are formed and how they connect with other words. Let's just discuss morphemes for now, though. Are you following well enough?
Word morphology is the study of words, how they're formed, and their relationship to other words.
Precisely.
And a morpheme is the smallest unit of meaning in a word.
Exactly. Continuing on then, there are several types of morphemes. The first we'll discuss are free versus bound morphemes. Free morphemes are morphemes that can stand alone, so the term morph by definition would count as a free morpheme, as it can be used on its own. For example, I am able to morph at will, which, well, I am, vampire and all.
Interesting, but you mentioned complex morphemes. What are those?
When a morpheme is bound, it means that it can only appear when it's attached to another word. For example, ology is a bound morpheme. As seen on its own, it still has the meaning, the study of, but it's only used to create new meanings to words. For example, morphology or the study of words.
I see. So, a free morpheme is the smallest unit of a word that has meaning that can stand alone, like dog, house, or bake.
Precisely.
So, applying that same logic, that would make the S unit of the term dogs a bound morpheme?
Yes. In the S of houses and the ed of baked, the S, S, and ed in these cases are the smallest units of meaning we can assign in these instances. To be more specific, these morphemes are defined as suffixes. If the morpheme in question appeared before the root words such as and undead, it would be defined as a prefix.
Right. Okay, I think I'm following all right. You seem to have alluded to the idea that these aren't the only kind of morphemes, though.
You're correct. There are also simple morphemes and complex morphemes.
Then let's get into it.
A simple morpheme is when a word is only made up of one morpheme. Following a previous example, in this case, dog would be a simple morpheme.
Okay, that makes sense.
Therefore, if a word has more than one morpheme, then it is a complex morpheme. In simple terms, dogs would then be a complex morpheme made up of two units of meaning. Dog and is to make the meaning of multiple dogs. Let's take for instance again, morphology. Morphology is a complex morpheme, made up of the word morph and ology. Morph on its own means to change or to shift. In linguistics, however, it is a word segment representing one morpheme. Therefore, when combined with ology, it becomes the study of morphs, or to reiterate, the study of words.
A simple morpheme, then, is just a word in its most basic meaning.
Yes.
Therefore, a complex morpheme is a word made up of multiple morphemes, But it must change the meaning of the root word, correct?
Correct. But there's still so much for you to learn.